Whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. Jesus says that several different times in different places in the Gospels. And I think I would like to invite us to reflect for just a moment during this homily today to think about what is our resume, what does your personal resume look like for losing your life? Right? What does your own personal resume look like for losing your life? How often do you lose your life? Do you lay down your life? In the second reading, it talks about faith without works is dead. And he goes on to give that beautiful example of the sort of corporal work of mercy, of doing charity for the poor and the hungry, which I think a lot of times when we think about works, we think about those things, and very rightly so. That's one form of work, of an act, right? An act of charity. We've reflected on that a lot. We do that a lot here with the St. Vincent de Paul, and you do that in your own ways in the community as well. But today I'd like to think about our work. What is our work in relationship to laying down our lives? That's an act. Like it is a motion, it is a decision to lay down our lives in this moment. And we have lots of opportunities to do that every day. In the vast, vast majority of them, no one else will see them. No one else will know of those times where we chose to lay down our life for something else, for God, for a person who needed it, for a child, for a poor person, for my spouse. No one else will know, but it's a work. And if you say that you're a Catholic, if you say that you believe in Jesus Christ, but you're not doing that kind of work, if you're not laying down your life, Jesus says you're a fraud. Right? You have to lay down your life for the sake of Christ in order to save it. So again, I invite you to think about, what is your resume? What is it when you stand before God on your judgment day and he says, when did you lose your life? What were the opportunities in those moments where you literally laid your life down? You had the thing that you wanted to do. You had the life, either we can think really big picture, you had this big life moment where you had, this is what I want to do with my life, but I choose this. But the vast majority of them are much smaller than that. There's just something in your heart that you want to do. There's something that you want to spend the next hour doing. There's some leisure or some entertainment or rest or something. And those things can all be good. I'm not saying that we can never rest or never have entertainment. But what are those times where our hearts felt pulled in that way and we laid that down and said, no, because God is calling me to this. And so I lay it down. I die to myself. I die to the thing that I want to do in this moment. That is a work, and it takes courage. It takes the strength of the Holy Spirit in us, and that is how we die to ourselves. And it's a death to Christ that is a million deaths. All of them added up, the little ones that no one will ever see, over and over and over again, train us and shape us into saints. Or choosing self over and over and over and over again in ways that no one will ever know. No one will ever see those choices. But choosing ourselves over and over and over again, my life, my desires, my will, what I want to do, over and over and over again, makes us the opposite of saints. And it causes us to be people, as Jesus says, who lose our lives in a bad way. We become narcissistically turned inward on ourselves because we're always doing what we want to do. It's the gospel paradox. If we choose to lose our life over and over and over again, training ourselves in that way, then when the big moments come, we can make the right choice again. Right? And we can say, when we're being buffeted, when we're being spit upon, as we hear in that first reading, when we're undergoing some serious, major public trial, like Jesus Christ, when we're faced with some serious moment in our lives, if we've chosen 1,000,000 times to lay our lives down and to choose Christ, then when the big moment comes, we're ready. And this moment in our church that we find ourselves in this moment that we find ourselves in our larger culture, in our country, in the state of where we're at with things, and the tensions that are out there, this world needs soldiers. Soldiers for Christ. And that's what your confirmation was, by the way. When you received the sacrament of confirmation, it made you a soldier. A soldier is a person who trains over and over and over and over again, so when the battle comes, they make the right choice, and they don't even have to think about it. This world needs soldiers for Christ who are saints. And that's what will fix this. Yes, we continue to demand accountability of all the people in the hierarchy, and we're not going to stop, etc. But the greatest volley toward the enemy, the greatest volley towards Satan in this war is you becoming a saint. You becoming the person that God has made you to be. You are the greatest response to evil in the world if you become a saint by dying to yourself over and over and over again in 1,000,000 ways that no one will ever see. Faith without works is dead. And so I ask us again to think about, if someone came to us today and said, what are the works that you have done? What are the works in which you have chosen Christ over yourself in your life? The question for us to ask is, what are the works in our life that we would point to?